Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bashim Yahushua Bashim Rakakadash, the lions to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone who will teach all sound doctrine, and peace and blessings to the elect. Now, this is just a news article that I've just seen, and it's funny, the wording of it is funny. Let me read it. Bank of England governor sounds apocalyptic warning on food shortages due to Putin's invasion of Ukraine. And it's funny how they're saying that this is food shortages are going to be an effect due to what's going on with Russia. And like I said in a previous video, you have all these prophecies that come together. You have Russia getting those hooks put back into its mouth, and Russia's moving fast. Russia is almost like it's getting restless. So the Lord is ultimately rousing them up, but it's not time for them to do what they're gonna do yet, because at the end of the day, you still got certain prophecies that have to happen before that. But like I mentioned in the previous video, I might have said that right, but if you have those moving that fast, what does it say about Marcus and the time of trouble? It means they're going to happen at an alarming speed. That's why it says when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them. And it's going to come upon them because they weren't expecting, because they weren't watching, they weren't paying attention to things going on. So for us that are watching, it's not going to really come that much of a surprise, even though it may be a surprise due to how fast it may come. But we're going to be looking at, hey, we've been waiting for this, because we were watching and we were kind of expecting this, even though we may not expect it, we may not expect it to come at a certain time or something like that. We will still be expecting it in a sense. We seen what was happening, and we seen that it was going to be leading up to that ultimately. So anyway, let's get into some of this article. Allah willing to be edifying. You can see this guy, I believe, is the governor. It should show you who he is. Yeah, Bank of England Governor Andrew Bailey sound the alarm over food shortages. So this is, Mr. Andrew Bailey in the picture. But the Bank of England governor sounds an apocalyptic warning on Monday. Oh, apocalyptic. We know that Jacob's trouble is likened onto, is like what they would say an apocalypse is. That's what Jacob's trouble is. So it's funny how they've put that in there, because Jacob's trouble is right at the door. So if they're saying that it's going to be apocalyptic, you really have to put that into perspective. And how bad can that really be? Because it's almost like they've been, desensitizing people, because they've been using the word, apocalypse, these words like apocalyptic or apocalypse, like, quite a few times. So people might kind of shrug it off. And when they shrug it off and something major happens, they're going to be like, yo, where did this come from? You should have been paying attention. You shouldn't have dropped the ball, just because you felt like they were saying it a bit too much. Bank of England governor sounded an apocalyptic warning on Monday over looming food shortages caused by Vladimir Putin, invasion of Ukraine. And just so you know, you may have, like you have countries that will, take sides and whatnot. Obviously, the country that they're taking sides of, their opposition, say for example, the UK takes sides with Ukraine. Russia's gonna be like, okay, we have certain things in our country, we're not gonna trade with you. So goods, oil or food that they may have gotten from Russia at one point, they can no longer get there, because due to the dispute, they've taken sides. So their decision to take a side has affected, has ultimately impacted him. Andrew Bailey told MPs of his major worry over food supplies. And it's funny because people high in the supply chain, I was going into articles last year, people high in the supply chain were really talking about the damage that the whole the whole situation that was going on in 2020, really, really was really affecting, going into 2021 was really having an effect, but we just weren't feeling it yet because we may have had a certain amount of food, or we may have had we may have been alright to a certain degree, but ultimately they were like, listen, these things that have happened, they're very severe, because especially when you haven't got people. And let me just say this: in the UK, this is only adding to the effect of the HGV driver shortage. Because if you have an apocalyptic shortage, along with not enough lorry drivers to bring food to and fro, that's only making the situation even worse. Because then food will be running that you can't even afford to run. So you're going to, people are going to be getting, desperate. So, hey, the law could kick. We don't even know what could happen in 2 months. The law could just kick off Jacob's trouble. We could be right at the door of Jacob's trouble. Right with these food shortages. But we're gonna have to wait and see. Over food supplies, particularly to the developing world. Appearing before the Commons Treasury Committee, he was asked about a range of subjects. I'm afraid the one I'm going to sound, I guess, apocalyptic is about food. And it's interesting how he kind of circled, around food, because he's the bank, he deals with Salaki, what is he again? He's a Bank of England governor, so you would have thought that maybe this guy might touch upon some issues to do with inflation. Maybe he's gonna, do this, but no. He went straight to say, listen, this is a major issue. And these guys know it's an issue. But the average person gonna be like, oh, they ain't really gonna care till they staring them dead in the eye, and that's when they're gonna run for desperation. They don't want to seek the Lord. They don't want to take heed until something catastrophic happens. That's when they're gonna be all desperate, and they're gonna be willing to listen. They're gonna be willing to do anything. But that's when the Lord's gonna be like, oh, no. What you were doing before, continue doing that. Don't worry, be happy. That's the vibe you on before. I was trying to give you a chance, but you didn't want to take it, so it's on you, I guess. So, if you luckily got it, you better be taking heed. You better be praying that the Lord have mercy on you. If you are choosing the lollygag, cause boy, that time ain't gonna be no joke. When we actually get into the time because they're talking a lot about this, but when we're in the time that we're in the midst of all these, I'm telling you, it's gonna be a completely different vibe. With these people, their chuckles are gonna turn into halls, man. I'm afraid the one I'm gonna Salaki, I already read this. Mr. Bailey added that after speaking with the Ukrainian finance minister at an International Monetary Fund meeting in Washington, future supplies of many staple foods were in doubt. Did the Lord not say, he's gonna break the staff of bread, on the land, roughly paraphrasing? This is the Lord showing you that this, the signs of the times. He's showing you, hey, some Jacob's trouble is right at the door, and it's spiritual, because over here in the UK, I kind of went to bed early yesterday, so I wasn't even aware of this. There was apparently a blood moon, and the Lord said he's gonna show you signs. He's gonna show you signs, and there gonna be signs in the moon, in the moon, the sun, and the stars, if I'm not mistaken. Yet. So all that is spiritual, because it's funny. I just heard about it today. Whilst I was out, and I came home and I seen this article. I was like, whoa, yeah, that's the spirit, man. This is a big concern, he said. Two things the Ukrainian finance minister said. One is that Ukraine does not have food, but it cannot get it out at the moment. One thing you have to put into perspective as well is that Jacob's trouble is going to be a time that never before seen on the face of the earth. Now there's been famines on the earth. There's been horrible famines, especially in the scriptures. I believe it's in 2 Kings. There was a terrible famine. I believe it was in Samaria, and the famine was so bad that I believe it was the woman was negotiating with the king. She was like, okay, let us eat your child today and we can eat mine tomorrow. Now you need to understand the seriousness of those words. For a woman to say that she's willing to eat your child and then she's gonna sacrifice her child, especially with the nature of a woman, you must take into account the actual desperation that must be in her to even think about that. And the king as well, the king was like, if the Lord can't help you, how can I help you? Because he was asking for help initially. So these people are in for real, these people are in for real shock, because you had things, that's literal cannibalism, man. So you had that happen. You had that, the woman. In fact, let me see if I can find it. I believe it's in Second Kings. Let's go here. Salakia, hold on. Salakia, so it don't change over whilst I'm talking. I know it's in 2 Kings, but I can't remember where. I think it's the 25th verse. Hold on. I think it's the 6th chapter, but hold on. Okay, oh yeah, he's in there. Here it is. And this is literally cannibalism when you hear what happened. The woman said, this is, I'm start this 28th verse, 2 Kings 6, 2 King, 6 and 28. And the king said unto her, what aileth thee? And she answered, the woman unto me, give thy son that we may eat today, and we will eat my son tomorrow. This is literal cannibalism. So Jacob's trouble is going to be on a whole nother level. You hear him warn about an apocalyptic food shortage, or something to that effect. You have to really put into perspective, how bad is this going to be? There's already a recording of it, it's right down here. So we boiled, my son, as in the king's son, and did eat him. So they boiled a kid and they ate him. So how much worse is it going to be this time round? Because it's going to be I have no words. It's just going to be terrifying to see what's going on. Especially if the Lord isn't with you. Oh, it's going to be awful. Two things the Ukrainian minister said. One is Ukraine does not have food in store, but it cannot get it out. Slovakia. Ukraine does have food in store, but it cannot get it out at the moment. To Ukraine is a major supply of wheat, a major supply of cooking oil. He was pretty optimistic about planting interestingly, and I believe Russia is also a big supplier when it comes on to oil. You know, I believe cooking oil as well as you know, natural energy like I believe gas. But he said at the moment we have no way of shipping it out as things stand. That is a major worry, and not just a major worry for this country, it is a major worry for the developing world as well. Sorry for being apocalyptic. I know it's always used this word again, so hold on. So let's define
apocalyptic.
Describing or prophesying the events or prophesying the complete destruction of the world. So he's saying he's prophesying, according to this definition, he's prophesying a destructive famine. So like but that is a major concern, and see I've that's hard. His comments came just after a UN food chief warned millions of people will die around the world if Mr. Putin does not lift his blocking of Ukraine ports. David Beasley, head of UN Nations World Food Program, pleaded with the Russian president to end blockade of Black Sea ports. Millions of people around the world will die because these ports are being blocked, he warned. He emphasized that the historic port of Odessa, which has come under heavy Russian bombardment, and other ports needed to be operational within the next 2 months to avoid catastrophe for Ukraine's economy, which is heavily focused on agriculture, recently accounting for just over 40%. And we're hearing a lot about Russia, and you can kind of see through the spirit how this could ultimately lead to Jacob's trouble. Because whilst you have one thing happening, Russia getting those hooks put back into his mouth, you're getting you're getting this famine, apocalyptic famine, which could, bring us into Jacob's trouble. And you also have Marcus that's making loads of appearances on the news, man. So it's a beautiful time that we're living in. For just over 40% of its exports, Ukraine is among the top 5 global exporters for several vital agriculture products, including corn, wheat, barley, according to the US government, as well as being the top exporter of both sunflower oil and meal. Let me just see how much. I'll close it out there, because I think I got the point. I want to give all praises and glory to Yahweh Shem Yahushua Bashim Rakakadash. Until next time, Shalom. I'll just leave this this news article in the description in case brothers want to get into it.